Welcome to the Screen the Screener College Basketball Podcast with your hosts, Mike Randall and Gus Kearns.
Welcome in, listeners, to the Screen the Screener College Basketball Podcast, where we're always talking everything college hoops. You could have been anywhere else in the dial, but you chose to be here with us, Mike and Gus, and we appreciate that. Hope you guys are enjoying the trip, enjoying the ride, enjoying the travel, enjoying the commute back and forth and to and fro. Let's hop in the car and discover 10 beautiful things about our college basketball world from this past week. Please buckle up those seatbelts. Keep those eyes open as we take a Screen the Screener style road trip around the sport that we adore. Stop one, starting line. We have to start our road trip inside the bracket reveal, right? This just means a finish line is in sight for the 2021 season. Our own Mike Randall was just a hair off on his predictions for the top 16 seeds. Please give him a follow over at Randall Rant on Twitter. He is entertaining, insightful, and educational, especially about all things college basketball. Wins were valued. In a season shrunk down by C19, that just might be the most reliable metric moving forward. Wins. And who did you beat? Just keep winning games to prove that you are a good team. What an old school concept. And slightly refreshing. Stop 2. Are we all ready to accept the Blue Jays, Florida State, and Alabama as legit Final Four options alongside the Zags and the Bears? The Blue Jays took out a highly valued Villanova team by double digits in a Big East grind showdown. Florida State kind of humbled UVA with a double-digit win inside the ACC, and all Alabama did was drop 115 points in a game against Georgia. All three programs have just enough characteristics to make a Final Four and maybe even win the whole thing, upsetting either Gonzaga or Baylor along the way, but just not both in 2021. Stop 3. Time to examine the Ivy League transfer effect. This is a real thing. If we just scan the top teams inside the NCAA bracket reveal, we find a heavy Ivy influence. Mike Smith, former Columbia lead guard, is rocking things for Michigan, averaging a career high 5.6 assists while shooting at 48% from 3 in almost 30 minutes a game for the Wolverines. Alabama leans on former Yale stretch big Jordan Brunner to play both ends of the floor efficiently, shooting threes and averaging over a block and a steal per game on the defensive end for the Crimson Tide. And Ohio State welcomed home former Ivy Player of the Year Seth Towns to help stretch the floor and create some offense off the bench for the right now number 1 seed Buckeyes. So even though the Ivy hoop season opted out this season, our sport still holds a Ivy flavor at the pinnacle of the rankings, seeds, and metrics. Appropriately so. Stop 4. Let's take time to admire. Spokane is still a place that we need to admire. We're talking about the Zags here with Baylor off currently. That Zag 40-point win over a team that beat UVA earlier this year, and some people were saying this could be the spot that they trip up at? Yikes. Please keep complacency at bay, Coach Mark Few and staff. Stop 5, time to hit the restroom, wash those hands, grab some snacks. So that MVC doubleheader is all that we could have hoped for in a really proper March predictor. College hoops got exactly what it needed and required from the Valley. One game where the Ramblers looked like an elite team against a Drake team with only a singular loss, and then minus its most impactful player, Tank Hemphill, Drake guts out an OT win in Game 2 on the Valentine's weekend doubleheader. Both teams can win in March, just not quote-unquote make the tournament. They both can win in March. They're lovely stories with nasty results that no one will enjoy preparing for in March. Stop 6. This week, we play fortune teller for the most and take the current temperature of college hoops with a logical sample size. Let's analyze Jalen Johnson's decision to opt out for the rest of the season for the Duke Blue Devils. The situation owns an array of optics. First, we have the team aspect. Yes, he walked away from his teammates with an opportunity for a championship inside the ACC tourney. Complete garbage move. Don't want to leave your teammates hanging in any regard. Second, if we view the futures market, on Johnson's NBA draft status. A lottery pick coming out, off an injury, and then coming off the bench for a struggling Duke team? I don't know if that's going to really raise your stock. So the millionaire in waiting didn't want to slip a few draft spots and lose millions of dollars that are coming his way. If we just take a quick scan, the number 5 pick in the NBA draft in 2021 is slotted to earn about $16 million over 3 years, while the number 12 pick will earn about $10 million over that same 3-year span. So Johnson just might be making a $6 million decision here. And that's omitting the 4th-year options, meaning millions more. And finally, it would seem a little short-sighted to not include the NBA G League Ignite option and consider the ongoing name and likeness cases. They both play a significant influence on Johnson's decision to walk away. There's a lot of moving parts here. Stop 7, the Jug Handle, a New Jersey staple on our weekly road trip, and just a lovely New Jersey brewery. One Big East player from our home state in New Jersey is making a case to slot himself on that Big East first team, and that's Xavier's Zach Freemantle. The 6'9" big man is making a difference on both sides of the ball for the Musketeers. The efficient Soph is posting 16 points a game, 8.5-ish rebounds per game, with a strong, effective field goal percentage. He's starting to shoot the 3 a tiny bit, and he averages about a steal and a block per game. He looked very much the part in December against top 10 team Oklahoma, with 28 points, 5 boards, and 4 made threes. It seems like he might be a legit stretch 4 in a league dominated by elite guards during the past few seasons. Freemantle does not own the playmaking and offensive initiation that fellow unique Big East stretch Sandro Mamukshvili, but Freemantle is morphing into a matchup that will cause issues in March. Stop 8. Wait, what was that? No, it's just another Colgate win. Seems like that's 8 in a row. The Raiders sit at 9-1 overall with a number 11 in the net rankings. With a solid win over an Army squad this weekend, led by one of the best players in the Patriot, Jordan Burns, this Colgate team has been limited by multiple C-19 restrictions and falls into that unknown sector this season. Complementing backcourt stud Burns is top shelf shooter Jack Ferguson. Very quietly, he owns the nation's top rating in offensive rating, over 150. That's 10 points higher than Corey Kispert or Grayson Murphy of Belmont or Jay Huff of UVA. This team has weapons and will be an issue as a usual 15-ish seed. Beware number 2 seeds, and good luck guarding Burns and Ferguson on the perimeter. Oh, and when you have that on lockdown, good luck dealing with the 6'10" Keegan Record in the paint, who just happens to be shooting 72% from the field. Second in the nation. What a lovely name, Keegan Record. Someone alert podcast host Matt Norland. Stop 9, so thankful to view and listen of the story of Sedona Price of Oregon. No, not Chris Durante or Will Richardson. Sedona Price. We were lucky enough to chat with Howard Mengel last season about Sabrina Onescu and her career numbers and impact. And this season, Coach Kelly Graves has another important student athlete who is going to impact the NCAA on the whole. Not dissimilar from Onescu. Prince in her situation might hold the largest impact on the NCAA and their name and image likeness moving forward. Her story is one of mistreatment, real-life monetary debt, and keenly illustrates the antiquated amateurism framework that the NCAA is clinging to during a season, a year, an atmosphere in which compromises and changes are needed and necessity and paramount to pull this season off. Let's hope Sedona Price and her story helps pivot the NCAA's stronghold on what a player's worth just might be, what it should be, or maybe just what it is. And I bet Jalen Johnson would still be playing right now if the name, image, and likeness amateur rules differ. Stop 10. Finish line. Go twofold here. Welcome back, James Bouknight from UConn. With him in the lineup, coming off the bench even. They definitely look like a tournament team. Glad he found health and will find continued success inside the Big East and hopefully in March. What a shot maker he is. And speaking of shot makers, the final beauty of the week belongs to Ayo Dosunmu. He was facing a loss on the road inside the Big Ten. Nebraska had that season-defining win in its queue against a top 10 team. But Ayo had other plans. He scored 15 points in the final 2 minutes of regulation and overtime, and Ayo's junior year is yielding improvements across the board, stat-wise, metric-wise, and result-wise. His three-point shooting is up, his scoring is up, his assists are up, his usage is up, etc. And he has still retained that late-game, big-moment DNA that he is constructed with. And he proved that Nebraska this weekend. If Luka Garza and Iowa continue to stumble and trip, it's Io. And maybe an outside shot to Drew Timme, who will challenge Luka National Player of the Year honors. He just needs one or two more of those moments containing his late-game magic. Thanks for jumping in the car and going on a college basketball road trip with us. If you like what you're listening to, please don't forget to give the podcast a follow at SDS Podcast on Twitter. Efficiency of keystrokes, of course. And please don't forget to leave a nice, kind review. Kindness is your thing on your podcast consumption vehicle of choice. Mike and I will catch up with you before you know it. Cilantro. Gratulati. Arigato. Cheers.
I'm addicted to the appetite. It's a seat in the van.